Bilya igadong. Pikas. So this is our week 9 for our luxury bungalow build, and for this week we have been working on the beams here. You know where they are. We have made forms, and we slowly, if you look at it, there's forms in the middle of the beams. We are pouring it as we go. When the forms are ready, we'll pour it. And like here, you can also see our gravel is been delivered, and have it closer here, so it's only the sand is where the near the gate of the road here, because the sand needs to be on a cleaner surface than the earth here, but the gravel can. So this is what happened. If they make the forms, we pour the beams and the column, and this is the next one they're gonna pour, because I let them get the forms stay with the poured beam and column for 10 days before we take it off. So this afternoon, this one will be the one to be poured. And you can see from here, we already have ditches ready to connect the 3 beams here on the front before, because this is another beam that's gonna connect the 3 before we filled it up for the flooring of the storeroom underneath the bedroom. And what happened is, before when we filled it up, when all the beams would be poured, we filled it up with earth, tampered it down, compacted it, and then we will be pouring solignum. Solignum is for treatment of the soil for termites and other insects, but that's how we do it. And then we put a polythene, you know, like clear polythene, the one that's thicker. It looks like a book cover, but it's thicker, all over the flooring before we pour the concrete. I mean, the polythene will be on top of the earth, and then the rebars will go over it, and then we will be pouring the floor. The floor will be 6 inches deep. But that's the procedure that we do with floorings. We treat the soil first, cover it up with polythene so the chemicals will be under the soil. That chemicals will not hurt the composition of the soil, but it will be against termites. I know this is all concrete, but that's how I done it with my house, to make sure that no termites will be living underneath your house. And column wise, there we're only got 6 columns more to dig, so you can see that one of the workers there started to dig one of the 7 columns left. So this is how we are for week 9. This is a lot of precision work, because the forms, it has to be on the same level, like that one and that one. So this is how it forms, and there will be a beam here connecting towards the beam on the end of the house, like that. And then we will be making another retaining wall, which is the side, not retaining wall, a big beam. On top of that will be the retaining wall, but that will be the same beam as over here. Before we put on the retaining wall on top of that very solid beam, like we're gonna make like this, the 1 meter deep beam. So this house is really strong. Foundation of it is, I could be proudly be saying to the owner that you won't have to worry about any earth movement because the house is well protected, soil wise, strongly connected, strongly rebarred. And my worry about the ceiling beams are now solved by adding these 2 extra column to hold the span, because that will be an open space if you can see it there. The columns that they are digging for the 7 columns is just gonna be for the floor. But like I said, the big column, the big beam that we're gonna be putting here, where there is 7 columns standing, will be very strong to hold the house. And then there is where that you can see around will be the floor that's holding on to the soil. So the house is up there having the view of the place. So you can see it's a very nice place to build a house, and you can build it strong because we are sourcing the materials here. We don't limit ourselves to the materials. The owner wants it strong and very safe. So each beam, we've calculated 6.5. Just this beam lying down without counting the columns, that will be 10 bags of cement for the pair. You know, the beam and the column standing, which we're gonna be pouring next, is 10 bags of cement. So this is 5, this is 50 beams here, 50 bags of cement. So what happened is yesterday, the forms of this one is already ready of the column. So that's why you can see we pour the column as well as together with the beam on this other side here. So we are cutting more boards because we don't want to take out the forms immediately. It will stay for 10 days like we did on the big retaining wall. You can see that the big retaining wall, we have started to fill up the side of it, so it will be safer for us to walk around, not just go from the slope, we go straight to the hole. So there, this big column, a big beam that we're gonna be forming soon with 1 meter deep, have 7 columns, and there's a front one here with 3 columns that we will be connecting, that will be poured, and that will be the beam on this one as well. That will be happening, I think, next week, and then we'll be ready to start filling up the soil on each from here, this beam to that beam. Then the columns here will have a beam across to each other. That will be nice to be poured as well. Then we can start filling it up to the floor level, and that you can see where it ends there. So from that, there will be 6 inches of flooring.